Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your Money in the Bank 2015 preview and predictions.
Oh, come on, baby! What's going on, guys? John, a.k.a. VocalAggression, alongside my cohort and commentary here for our Money in the Bank 2015 preview and predictions. And I gotta say, guys, straight away, me and Ashton started talking about this pay-per-view, and I stopped midway, and I said, hey, why aren't we recording this? We're deep in the conversation. It's gonna boil over into here. And I can't wait to go match by match with you on this thing, especially with some things that you've told me. I think it's totally shaken the landscape of this pay-per-view. I'm really waffling on a lot of matches, guys. I will say that right now, so I apologize in advance for my indecisiveness. But hopefully me and Ashton having an active discourse will help me come to the conclusion of who's going to win what this Sunday at Money in the Bank.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, here's our thing. There are sort of three main events to this show. You've got the big Cena-Owens rematch, you've got the Money in the Bank ladder match, and you've got the world title match. So we're going to save those three for last. That being said, we do have a kickoff match on this show already announced. R-Truth versus King Barrett. So, John, let's talk about this one first.
Really not much to say about this. I think King Barrett is finally going to get his win back over R-Truth. He's lost to him multiple times now. I think King Barrett is due for a victory, so I'm just picking him to win this thing. It was a bit difficult because I think R-Truth may actually have the higher stock right now, oddly enough, after that whole gaffe on Monday night where it's like, oh, I'm not in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and that whole comedic segment. Barrett did beat Swagger on SmackDown, so usually it's kind of a theory. Guy who has the most momentum going into the pay-per-view usually is going to lose, but I'm going to go against that and say that King Barrett is going to get the win here.
So. Yeah, and I agree with that. I think after having been pinned twice by R-Truth, Barrett's got to get that win back.
Definitely. It's just, it's a shame because you and I look at other preview predictions, see what the whole wrestle sphere, if you will, kind of thinks about each matchup or each performer. And so many people are like, it's a tragedy what's happened to Barrett. This whole King of the Ring crown has done him nothing but harm. And, it really is a shame that he has got to, take solace in finally getting a victory over R-Truth after going 0-2 against him. It's pretty bad. But yeah, King Barrett for the win.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's see. We have three non-main event championship matches on this show. We've got the Tag Championship match, the Divas Championship, and the IC title. Let's talk about the one that is, in my opinion, the easiest to predict. Intercontinental Championship, Ryback Big Show. Is there any way Big Show's winning the title tonight?
No, but let me just qualify this. I think Ryback's going to win by countout because I don't see this being a one pay-per-view kind of feud.
Yeah.
So I see a countout kind of victory happening here. And then Big Show could be like, oh, well, that's because you can't pin me or you can't do this, that, or the other. And, so Ryback will retain, yes, but it's going to be a countout victory.
I agree that this is going to be a multiple pay-per-view angle. But I think that just the way that they book the Big Show, I don't think that it's going to make him stop wanting to go after the IC title just because he loses clean once. So I'm picking Ryback to win clean.
Okay, then. All right, but at least we both agree that Ryback is walking into Money in the Bank as the champion and he's walking out as the champion. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Man, been smooth sailing so far, but we're almost intentionally going in order from easiest to most difficult. So up next, let's talk about Nikki Bella and Paige.
Honestly, Ashton, this might surprise you. I think Paige might actually win it finally here.
I have the same feeling as you, brother.
I think, when Paige cuts a promo...
You know what, though? We've been picking against Nikki Bella for like 3 months now, and we're never right.
It's and you are certainly right, and I feel a deep bit of shame about that. But here is my thing. Paige cutting a promo and talking about and using verbiage like change and revolutionary.
Yeah.
And what made her lose to Nikki last time was twin magic. Right. You have to imagine that Paige is going to have a mechanism in place to safeguard her from losing to that again.
Yep.
And honestly, I was talking to our boy Gordon about it. He thinks that this could finally be the way that an NXT a women's wrestler debuts, because when you say change is coming, what exemplifies change more than what the women are doing down in NXT? And then you get a call-up going. Right. I don't know if I'd go that far, right, but I do think Paige has a plan in place, and she is going to become a 3-time Divas champion tomorrow night.
It'd be interesting if we sort of got that female shield that we've been talking about for so long, but Paige, rather than 3 NXT people, it's one main roster person teaming up with two NXT people, and it's Paige, Sasha, and Charlotte.
God, that'd be so glorious. I know
you'd
that.
have to imagine that if it was three NXT people, just based on Triple H and knowing the way that he is, it would be Sasha, Charlotte, and Alexa Bliss, because those are the three girls that he handpicked to help him with his entrance at WrestleMania 30, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, if they're going to do a female Shield, I'm guessing that would be it. But if they want to do it a little bit differently this time, I think that Sasha, Charlotte, and Paige would be great.
I mean, to Ashton's point, guys, smart money says, given the last few pay-per-views, that you don't bet against Nikki Bella. But if there was ever a time to do it and be smart about it, and not because of some kind of markdom or fandom on my end when I pick Naomi all those times, it would be Paige here and all this talk of change.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's one of those things where we picked against Nikki Bella early on thinking, oh, well, it's the Divas title. Of course they're going to hot shot it and play hot potato with it. But now it's gotten to the point that we're picking her every pay-per-view, not because we think that they're just going to kind of, dilly-dally and just throw it around from one person to another, but because it legitimately seems like she's had it long enough that it's time for her to lose it.
Yeah. I mean, she's got to lose it any day now. And the whole thing was...
And there are a lot of people that are saying that the WWE wants to kind of write AJ Lee out of the record books, but to me, the CM Punk factor kind of takes away from that, because they had this whole thing that they made up where CM Punk was the longest reigning champion of the modern era, and they could have, if they wanted to, they could have overwritten that with Brock. They were closing in on it, and then they gave the title to Seth. So to me, it seems like the WWE doesn't care so much about writing somebody out of their history books unless they, commit a double murder, suicide, or leave the company.
Yeah, and that's certainly a fair point. So I see no reason why.
And AJ Lee retired, but she didn't go to somewhere else. Like she didn't pull a frickin' Brock and go to the UFC.
Exactly. I don't see why Paige would be an unsound bet here. So, once again, I am picking against Nikki Bella, but I'd like to think that this time around, there's at least proper cause. So, Paige for New Divas Champion.
Yeah. How hilarious is it that Naomi finally gets multiple shots, and then she gets completely overlooked for Paige?
It's hilarious and depressing, my friend.
That's what I mean. Hilarious as in, like, wow, WWE really just can't get it right, can they?
No, they can't.
All right. Well, up next, though, let's talk about the only remaining non-main event match, the Tag Team Championships, New Day versus Primetime Players. Now, I think that it would be smart for the WWE to put the titles on the PTPers while they're hot. But knowing the WWE, they're probably going to just keep the titles on New Day.
See, first of all, it feels good to give a shit about my tag team wrestling again.
Yeah.
And,
hey, here's the thing. It's not necessarily a main event match on this card, but it's also the most important non-main event match.
I completely agree with you. I mean, guys, if my indecisiveness says anything, it's that I'm genuinely invested in the tag team division, and perhaps more particularly, so invested in the New Day. I've taken every appropriate opportunity when we do 12 Out together to put over these guys when they're heel, because we put that qualifier in place very early on. That New Day just, I think, can't be touched in terms of like how entertaining they are and how good they are when you give them that opportunity. And that's why it's a struggle, because I think they're such a good act, and the belts are great in their hands. But PTP, not only are they hot, and I know this may seem like a weird thing to bring up, Ashton, but I can't help but think in the back of my mind that Harper and Rowan are also on the rise. And I saw one prediction saying that they felt like if PTP were to win the belts here, they would be transitional champions for Harper and Rowan.
I don't. I mean, here's my thing. They had plenty of opportunities last summer, or was it? It might have even been the summer before that, summer of 2013, to put the tag titles on Harper and Rowan, and they didn't. And that was when they were much more well built up then than they are now, or than they are going to be in the near future, unless they get a significant push, which I don't necessarily foresee.
And that could be true. It's so weird, because honestly, I didn't even expect like PTP in this spot. Like if you would have asked me who would have been in this spot, I would say the Lucha Dragons. And I'm still thinking like the Usos have got to be.
Hopefully, the Lucha Dragons get back in this spot by SummerSlam.
I would love that.
But that right there, what I just said, that's one of the other reasons why I think that the New Day need to hold on to the titles, because there aren't really a ton of babyface teams. And really, it just kind of comes down to PTP and Lucha Dragons, and that's it. Those two teams.
I mean, PTP has been together for a long time. They reunited, several months ago with the purpose of winning the tag titles. I'm actually happy to see them in this program. I've always said I'm not the biggest PTP mark, but they are over, they are hot, and they are a good team.
Well, I think, you know what, now that I think about it, I think that even more reason to support New Day winning. PTP's hot, but I think that the WWE likes to always test hot sort of acts with a loss and see if they can still be hot after they lose.
Yeah. I mean, this is an even playing field. It's not like Elimination Chamber when it was 3-on-2 and they had to face all those other teams.
Right.
But I still don't think it's going to be enough for PTP to overcome.
Yeah.
I am picking New Day to retain the titles here.
Yep. Man, we're agreeing all over the place here, which tells me that maybe I'm getting better at this because you've been undefeated for like months now. So let's move on to our main events. This is where it's going to get interesting, though. You know what? I hate to do this, but I think that the least important main event is the ladder match, the Money in the Bank ladder match. So let's talk about Dolph Ziggler versus Neville versus Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton versus Kofi Kingston versus Sheamus versus Kane.
Okay, well, let's start this conversation the way you and I usually do with multi-person matches. Can we both agree that Kane and Ziggler have no chance in hell of winning this match?
Kane, yes. I don't want to give up on Ziggler right away. We need to convince ourselves more of Ziggler.
Yeah, we need to convince ourselves because WWE's done a shit job of it. I'm sorry. I've got to write Dolph off here, and it's a shame because...
You know what, though? He's got this angle with Lana, dude. Like, I can't just write him off when he's got a very prominent story going on right now.
And that's true, and here's the thing. I would really love that story because you remember...
I would argue that Dolph Ziggler and Lana as a power couple would bring more eyes to the WWE product, and I think that's not necessarily my logic. To me, the most logical thing would be to give it to Neville, Orton, or Reigns. Right there, boom, boom, boom. Pick one of those three guys, give the Money in the Bank to one of them, and let Brock win the title, and then one of those three guys goes against Brock, specifically Reigns or Orton. Preferably Orton, but yeah. Reigns would work too. But still, I think that the WWE, like, you'll notice that a lot of the time, some of the highest rated segments are drama segments. The highest rated segment of all time was a drama segment talking about Rocky, This Is Your Life with Mankind, Mick Foley. Every time the WWE does a wedding, it gets huge ratings. So the WWE's mentality is couples sell. And Dolph Ziggler and Lana as a couple going into the future could potentially be what Dolph needs to be a main event fixture.
And I love everything you just said, and I want to buy into it. I do. I just don't see Dolph winning it here. I think, and honestly,
you know what though? I don't see him winning it either. But if we get to tomorrow night and this freaking match jerks the curtain and the match ends with Dolph in the middle of the ring climbing up a ladder with no one around, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, they're actually giving it to Dolph. And then he grabs it and he holds it out and he does that loud yell thing that he does, and his hair's all flying over the place. It's like, yeah, this makes sense with the Lana thing. I get it.
I mean, I love Dolph to death.
Because then we can have a Dolph Ziggler-Rusev feud to keep him hot, so that he can even put the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line against Rusev and that kind of stuff.
And see, I was even going to say at one point, we remember the Rusev promo where he was all dejected and saying pretty much everything about me is broken. Yeah, I have nothing. So what better way, because he even said, I'm going to get it all back. What better way to do that than to take everything from the man that you blame for your problems in the first place? And Dolph Ziggler. So I could very easily see a program like that happening. So fine, we'll bring Dolph back into the fold, but I would, of all the people we have in the fold, I'm putting him at the bottom of the totem pole.
See, and I'm putting Roman Reigns at the bottom of the totem pole.
Given what you've told me recently, do you want to let the people in on that, or how do you want to?
I mean, even if we don't take that into account, Roman Reigns is, I'm going by your logic here, John. He is too hot going into the pay-per-view to win the match.
And see, I've thought about that too. I've used my own logic too. Trust me, thinking about how much momentum Roman Reigns has. He's been on quite a tear lately. I mean, for God's sakes, to keep his spot, he won 3 matches in one night. So it's crazy. So how about this? How about we just put Roman Reigns in the corner? And let's talk about the guys that you feel like have the best chance. You give me your guys, I'll give you my guys, unless we share.
You know what? Can we cross out Neville? Because as much as I would love for him to win this, I don't think it's a possibility.
The only reason I'm crossing out Neville is because he had a big moment on SmackDown, and as much as I'd love for the Altitude Era to begin with that Money in the Bank briefcase, It's just not happening. I think the only solace I take is that Neville isn't going to be hurt that much by this loss at all. In fact, he'll probably come out smelling like roses once we see that red arrow off the ladder. And that's really, I think, the only reason he exists in this match.
Right.
I love him to death.
See, and that
This just
right
isn't
there,
the
John, what you just said, that's the only reason he exists in this match. That gets me thinking. If that's the reason he exists in this match, why is Kofi Kingston in this match?
And what have I been saying on TwitWow? That I feel like if Kofi was ever more threatening and legitimate in a Money in the Bank match, it's this year. Because the New Day has been such an act. I mean, hell, it was only, what was it, like a month ago, maybe just a few weeks ago? I mean, they pinned Orton and Reigns in a tag match. You know, Roman Reigns, or no, it was Randy Orton that got pinned in that tag match. And yeah, New Day got the win over two guys like that. Kofi has never been better, I think. I've always been curious how he would do as a heel, and I think he's done really well, mainly, though, because he's a part of this trio. And here's the thing. The funny thing is, New Day has been talking about when he wins Money in the Bank, we win Money
All
in the
three
Bank.
of them. Yeah, dude. Like, I want to see that. I want to see Money in the Bank under the Freebird rule.
And see, I think New Day, and see, here's the thing. I guess it's kind of a cop-out in a way because you could justify it on either side of the coin. Because if they win their tag title match, then they realize they have a chance to do a clean sweep. They're going to get heavily involved. Conversely, if they lost their tag titles, they'd say, okay, well, we need a win tonight. We need to come away with something positive, power, positivity. They'll still get involved. Conclusion, regardless of what happens in the tag title matchup, I fully expect New Day interference. So that could actually clear the playing field for Kofi to scale that ladder and finally win a damn Money in the Bank briefcase after how many ladder match appearances? Holy crap.
Yeah, well, and see, I almost. We need to address the freaking elephants in the room. And it's not even just an elephant, it's an elephant, a rhinoceros, and a freaking brontosaurus, brachiosaurus, whatever you want to call it, apatosaurus, whatever. Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, and Sheamus are in this match. And literally any of those three guys could win it.
Yeah. I mean, again, in my same conversation with Gordon that I was telling you about in here, we both said Sheamus has never been better than he is right now. Like, this heel character that he is, I don't think I've ever been more interested in Sheamus.
I think that Sheamus is the least likely to win out of those three, though, because they haven't been protecting him at all.
See, they haven't been protecting him at all, but think about past Money in the Bank winners. Have they always been protected, even winning the briefcase? I mean, I know
leading up to the Money in the Bank, yes, but once they win it, they stop getting protected.
See, and maybe Sheamus will be the opposite. Maybe he's just the guy that really hasn't done that well, and then when he wins that briefcase, he goes on a tear because he knows he can be World Heavyweight Champion at any time. Honestly, right now, and we're not finished the conversation, but right now, I am leaning towards Sheamus to win Money in the Bank.
I would be so pissed off if we got Sheamus Lesnar before we got Orton Lesnar.
Dude, we're never getting that match. I'm convinced. We got Lesnar for 3 years, and I guarantee you we are never getting Orton Lesnar, and that is so sad to me because that match is so perfect and needs to happen, and it's gonna be one of those things where it's like, nah. I'm just gonna be like, why?
Like Goldberg Austin.
Goldberg, yeah, exactly. So, okay, we've put Roman Reigns in the corner. We've talked about Kofi. We are we put Ziggler. He's in contention, and now we talked about Orton. Orton Lesnar.
We haven't spoken about Orton yet, though.
Not Orton in this match, no. What do you think?
Orton still has beef with Seth, so it makes sense.
He does, but here's the thing, though. He got pinned in the Fatal 4-Way, so Seth finished the fight, to me.
Fatal 4-Way? What am I...
Remember the Fatal 4-Way? Yeah, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Orton. Orton ate the pin from Rollins after a pedigree.
That's right.
That beef is squashed.
You know what, though? He might have eaten the pin, but he also got triple teamed by those guys, so you could make an argument that in a one-on-one situation, he wouldn't have gotten pinned.
And you could, especially because in a one-on-one situation at WrestleMania, he hit that brilliant RKO.
RKO and pinned Rollins, exactly.
So, yeah, but see, the funny thing
Okay, you know what, John? I've never done this before. Let's take a left turn, and let's talk about who we think is going to win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship tonight. Because to me, these two matches are directly related to each other.
And see...
To me, if Rollins wins... the winner of the Money in the Bank comes down to Ziggler, Neville, Reigns, and Orton. Because Kingston and Sheamus, I could see one of those guys winning if Ambrose wins the title.
Right.
And then, sort of I've already said there was an Apatosaurus in the room, so there's no larger animal that I can think of in the room. But sort of the looming threat here is Where does Brock Lesnar fit into all this?
And see, this is why I both love and loathe Brock Lesnar, because plans would be so much cleaner if he wasn't a factor. But he's always a factor when it comes to the main event scene in the world title. And I don't know. Now, Ashton, I'm going to mention the one part of our conversation that you said to me. You said that one reason Kofi Kingston might win Money in the Bank is because Brock Lesnar is slated to face Kofi Kingston at the Sumo Hall July 4th, in Tokyo. And the briefcase could be collateral. That could be at stake. So then Lesnar wins it, and then because by your logic, because I was trying to tell you, oh, I don't know, Lesnar and the briefcase seems like such a horrible mix. You said, well, John, the thing is, they love advertising Lesnar in advance. They love letting you know when he's going to be on a card. And he could get a microphone and say, Seth, or whoever the champion is, I'm coming back for my belt at SummerSlam, or whatever.
Yeah, that could. They might even, you know what? Here's a crazy thing that somebody even mentioned on Reddit. They might even hold off on Lesnar until Night of Champions.
And see, that would be interesting to me. I'm not opposed, but I don't know.
Well, you figure then we could get the Shield triple threat at SummerSlam, and then whoever comes out of that on top, and whoever doesn't get pinned through all that, we get a triple threat at Night of Champions between the two guys and Lesnar.
Okay, so then entertaining the notion, wow, we are taking so many twists and turns. Taking the notion that we've got a Shield triple threat at SummerSlam, how does Roman Reigns fit into all this if he doesn't win the Money in the Bank ladder match? Does he have
okay, now is the time where we need to address the internet rumor. It's being reported by the same guy that said that Kevin Owens was going to debut on Raw, Samoa Joe was going to debut on NXT, and that Ryback was winning the Intercontinental Championship, and that Mark Henry was the extra man in the Elimination Chamber, that the reason Roman Reigns is not winning the Money in the Bank is because he's starting a feud with Bray Wyatt, who's going to cost him the Money in the Bank match.
And, God, I'm happy for one that Reigns isn't winning Money in the Bank because they're really making him struggle to get to that world title.
And that's going to be so good for him in the long run.
It is, and that's the only reason I'm happy about it. But with Bray, I get that he beat Bray, and that was the third matchup, and he may have cost Bray a chance at Money in the Bank because it was whoever beat Reigns took his spot.
Right.
But, man, Bray just keeps getting thrown in these things with, random-ass people, and they usually
and
work
it's
out
feuds
well.
that he's not going to win either. Like, if he gets into a feud with Reigns, he's not winning that feud.
No, he's not. No, yeah, and anybody who has any, feelings otherwise, you clearly haven't seen the trajectory of Roman Reigns and the downward spiral of Bray Wyatt, at least in terms of matches. So I guess I'm cool with that. But again, Ashton, we come back to the central thing. If Reigns isn't winning and he's tied up with Bray, do Seth and Ambrose, what happens with them? Now, I'm going to ask you first, because we know you're the big Dean Ambrose fan, but you've always bet against Dean Ambrose. But lately, I don't know. It's been a very kind of back and forth sort of thing with these two.
That rule stopped. Well, maybe. I don't know. That rule might still be in effect. I don't know. You know what? It's me being a fan and not being scientific enough, because I want to convince myself that the curse of Ambrose never winning at pay-per-views got broken at WrestleMania. Or not at WrestleMania. When did he face
Extreme Rules against Luke Harper.
Yeah, then. But obviously it didn't, considering what happened at the pay-per-view after that and then the one after that.
Right. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm not gonna commit the crime of overthinking it as we do with so many high-profile matches in the history of us doing this. I'm gonna say Seth Rollins retains because I still believe the money matchup is Rollins-Lesnar. I think people are gonna pay to see Rollins just get the absolute crap beat out of him by Brock Lesnar. Now, I get people's points too, because I've heard a lot of people say that match would still sell without the championship, and I wholeheartedly agree. I just think WWE is going to be too tempted, to not put that cherry on top of the proverbial sundae. So I'm going with Seth Rollins retaining. But it's very tough. I'll say that right now.
Man. Yeah. See, but what could they possibly do for Rollins to retain again?
And I don't know. And that's the problem, because how do you beat Brock Lesnar? Unless you take the weaselly way out.
No, I'm not talking about Brock. I'm talking about Ambrose.
Oh, talking about Ambrose. Well, you could have, a spot where Ambrose seems like he's all alone. He's scaling the ladder, and then Rollins pushes it, and Ambrose just goes tumbling to the outside, maybe even through a couple tables. I mean, he has the CCW experience. You don't think they'd, not take the
Yeah, I
chance to put his
guess
ladder
I
drawn
guess
out?
the fact that it's a ladder match kind of makes more sense for Rollins to win without hurting Ambrose.
I mean, and here's another thing too, and we should kind of address this if we want to either reinforce our prediction or maybe kind of sway or whatever. Are J&J Security going to get involved and help Seth, or have they
Why would
severed
they
the
help
ties?
Seth? If anyone, they would help Dean.
Well, and I get that. That would seem like the logical thing, right? But you never know with the authority. Like, just because they pinned Seth and they had that little rift, we don't know.
Fine. Okay, Seth wins. Now let's talk about Money in the Bank again.
Okay, so if Seth wins,
Then who's it going to be? Is it going to be Ziggler, Neville, Reigns, or well, it can't be Orton. We know that. Okay, so Ziggler, Neville, or Orton.
geez, I was still so gun ho about Sheamus, but I mean, if we're really thinking that
Well, if
this is,
Rollins wins, Sheamus obviously isn't going to have. Unless, you know what, though? I shouldn't even say that because Sheamus could just cash in on Brock when he wins the title back.
yeah, I mean, you have the briefcase for a full year,
I'm
so
trying so hard to narrow down this field, though, and it's just not working.
I'm sorry, man. I'm still sticking with my gut. I say Sheamus wins Money in the Bank. I just got a weird feeling about it, and since you've ruled out Roman Reigns thanks to the source, that's really made it all clear to me. I want to pick Neville so
Well,
freaking bad. No
before
idea.
I told you about the source
I
saying
was gonna,
were you
yeah.
going to go with Reigns?
Oh yeah. Oh definitely. Um, even though I'll admit, even then, I was like, no, it seems a little too
You
straightforward.
know what, too? If Reigns does get screwed like that, a heel's got to win.
Yeah, I would definitely think so. Because watch, Roman Reigns would have the hope spot right towards the
Right.
end, and that's probably when
Yeah.
Bray would strike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm picking Sheamus, dude.
So Reigns is going to have the hope spot at the end, and Bray's going to ruin it for him, and then Ziggler's going to have another hope spot, and Sheamus is going to ruin that for him.
Yeah,
Or,
probably.
but what if the New Day gets involved? What if the other two guys, Xavier Woods and Big E? Because this isn't necessarily a match where anyone can get disqualified. So this is basically three guys are probably going to be involved through the whole match from the New Day. All three guys.
I guarantee you, if New Day wins, I think the internet will lose their shit in happiness. I think it would be a positive reaction
Dude,
because
I am so torn right now between Kofi and Sheamus. So torn because I guess that they could have a spot where all of the New Day guys get taken out at once, like Reigns goes over the top rope and just kills everyone, or maybe even Neville's Red Arrow off the ladder, like you said.
are we seriously this close to picking Kofi Kingston to win a Money in the Bank?
Well, you aren't. You already said that you're
Well,
picking
but
Sheamus.
see, you're making a compelling case here because when I think about all the other stuff we said about the New Day earlier, I mean, it's not easy for me to abandon the New Day. I feel like Sheamus. I don't
You've
know.
been talking about Kofi Kingston for weeks now.
Yeah, on Twitter, wow, especially. In fact, you were the one originally that's like, "Oh, come on, John,
Yeah,
that's
but now
absurd."
that I found out about Reigns and we have Kofi randomly facing Brock Lesnar on the 4th of July and it makes no sense, but now it's like I'm starting to connect the dots and maybe.
Oh man, it's gonna be kind of disheartening for me to see Brock Lesnar take that briefcase from Kofi, but it's all for the greater good, I guess. Because I really wanted to see him play with the Freebird rule with that damn case, but is it Sheamus or is it Kofi? Dude,
Flip a
screw it.
coin.
What do we have to lose? Let's pick Kofi Kingston. I mean, because look, what have I been saying consistently? If there was ever a time that he was gonna win it, it would be this year, dude. He's never gonna have a year this good again. Like the New Day is one of the
You
best
know what
things
though?
that
That's the thing, John. You say that like Kofi has to win Money in the Bank sometime, just because he's been like Shelton Benjamin never won a Money in the Bank
And that's true,
briefcase.
but Shelton Benjamin never had personality, and he never really made that kind of
Neither does
connection.
Kofi.
But he's more entertaining with the New Day, making the one-liners against people and stuff, and doing
Right,
these
but I'm not
comedic
even
segments.
trying to say who's better between Kofi and Shelton. I'm trying to prove a point that it doesn't matter how many ladder matches you're in, you don't necessarily have to win the Money in the Bank.
And that's true, but I think what you're not considering with your parallel between Kofi and Shelton is Shelton would have had to carry that briefcase by himself. They're gonna do the Freebird rule with this briefcase, and
No,
you and I both
John,
know.
again, you're missing my point. My point isn't Shelton Benjamin should have won Money in the Bank. My point is the opposite. My point is just because Kofi's been in a lot of ladder matches doesn't necessarily mean that he needs to win one of them.
At the same time, see, and that's what still keeps both Sheamus and Kofi in the running. They've been on the
Dude, here's
losing
my
end of
thing. I
things.
feel like if we pick Kofi and Sheamus wins, we're going to be so angry at ourselves for missing it. But if we pick Sheamus and Kofi wins, we're going to be happy and surprised about it.
I also can't get out of my mind that Sheamus and Orton have been having problems lately, and I don't know if that's going to necessarily stop at the pay-per-view.
Well, I sure as hell hope they're not going to have any more singles matches against each other.
Well, what else is Orton going to do? Or Sheamus, for that
Literally
matter.
anything else. Let Orton feud. Let Orton turn heel again, for God's sake. I don't know. No, he can't turn heel now already. But I don't know. Let Orton. He's a face. Let him feud with. I don't know. I don't know.
Look,
My
I
head's
think,
right
you know
there.
what?
I don't know. Let him feud with Barrett. How about that? Him versus Barrett.
No, I'm sorry. You know what? That kind of changes my mind a little bit, because thinking about Sheamus and Orton and how they've been, really getting physical with each other.
But nobody likes Sheamus and Orton. The WWE's got to know that.
Do you think they care?
Yes!
Well, then we disagree. You know what? I think that kind of did it for me. I'm picking Kingston to win Money in the Bank.
I'm picking Sheamus, man.
All right.
You know what? I want to pick Kofi, and now I do kind of hope that you're right, but I cannot. In a match where Kofi Kingston and Sheamus are 50-50, I can't pick Kofi over Sheamus.
Dude, for me, it comes down to two things. I just thought about Sheamus Orton, and I'm like, Orton's got nothing to do. Sheamus, when he loses, will have nothing to do. They're going to keep those two together. And, again, New Day is one of the best acts going, and can you imagine the segments of them partying with that briefcase?
Isn't Orton still feuding with the Authority, though?
No, dude, that got squashed. He lost the fight. They've moved past Orton. He's old news. To me, yeah, Orton's sticking around with Sheamus, much to the chagrin of all of us.
That is the dumbest thing ever.
Dude, look, I know I say a lot
of
stupid things on here.
I would literally rather see Orton Cena again than Orton Sheamus right now.
Look, I know I say a lot of crazy and even downright stupid things on here, but sometimes my gut instinct is right. Most of the time it's wrong. I just can't ignore how great the New Day's been. And you know what? You make a great case with Brock Kofi. Like, all the arguments point to, yeah, Kofi's going to win this thing. The only real question then, if Kofi wins this thing, is are you right and Brock takes it from him? Or are WWE seriously going to have these guys freebird the shit out of that briefcase and do something with it? Because I'd be happy with either outcome, but honestly, I'd be even happier with the latter. But if this is a way for Brock to get back in the picture, great. So yeah, given all of the arguments, and this has got to be one of the hardest matches I've predicted with you this year, because, man,
Let me ask you a question, John.
Okay.
Kofi wins the briefcase. What does Lillian Garcia announce?
Winner of the match representing the New Day, Kofi Kingston. I mean, because he's the one representing the New Day in the match, so it's not like she's going to say the New Day.
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. Like, would she say the New Day, or would she straight up just say Kofi Kingston?
She'd straight up say Kofi Kingston.
I just can't imagine that. I'm sorry. You know what? We're gonna agree to disagree on this. We had the same evidence and came to different conclusions, man. I can't get away from Sheamus now.
And I respect that, and I wholeheartedly. I mean, again, a few hours ago, I was set to pick Sheamus. I think you, and then me thinking about additional things I hadn't thought about before in my conversation with Gordon, said, no, it's Kofi's time. More importantly, it's the New Day's time.
All right, man. Oh, my God. I can't even believe it. Dude, this is the weirdest Money in the Bank match ever.
Who in the... I picked Kofi Kingston to win Money in the Bank. Wow, I can check that off my bucket list. Sincerely pick Kofi to win a Money in the Bank.
It's like we're trying to play around a golf with one arm tied behind our back or something.
Dude, it's...
And the arm tied behind our back is Roman Reigns knowing that he's not going to win it.
Yeah, how crazy it, because I guarantee
Because, like, going into that, yeah, like, it was a lock. We were both going to pick Reigns, and we would have both been wrong because of it.
I could have even seen the review going, so Ashton, yeah, you pick Reigns winning? Yeah, me too. Let's move on. And then that would have been, but instead, now that he's been taken out, we spend all this time and energy going, like, playing freaking Clue. Like no, it's going to be Sheamus, and it's going to be due to interference, and, like, all this stuff.
Yep.
Oh, man. So let's move on, because it only
They are going to overbook the crap out of that match.
Oh, my God.
I can see Lana and Rusev getting involved, and maybe J&J Security trying to help Kane, and freaking the rest of the New Day people trying to help Kofi, and there's just going to be so many shenanigans going on in this match. It's going to be retarded. But yeah, your official predictions, Kofi Kingston. I'm going with Sheamus.
Oh my God, let's move on.
Well, we both picked Seth Rollins to retain the title, so we only have one match left to talk about, Cena.
Oh God, I told you guys it doesn't get any easier.
My mind is made up. I came into this knowing what I was going to say, and I just want you to kind of bounce off of me and tell me what you think. Okay,
so what's your pick then?
John Cena wins clean due to Finn Balor distraction.
Interesting. Me, I say Kevin Owens goes 2-0. He beats John Cena.
Oh, Jesus!
Yeah, he's beating John Cena twice.
Oh.
Here's the thing that I love about Kevin Owens, and I've really been thinking about this these past 2 days because you and I don't really get to click on Fridays. Kevin Owens is an anomaly of a heel because everything he says he comes through on. And John Cena, I listened to John Cena's
Are
promos
you
very.
beginning to give Kevin Owens your trust as if he was Paul Heyman giving a spoiler rather than a prediction?
Yeah, it's getting there. But here's another thing, though, that I want everybody to consider. I learned from one columnist that I read that it's very important to pay attention to John Cena's promos and probably babyface promos in general.
Yeah.
He never said, I guarantee that I'm going to beat Owens or I promise that I'm going to beat Kevin Owens. He's just very confident that he will beat Kevin Owens. Whereas Kevin Owens has said, I'm going to, come through on my word yet again because that's what a man does. I think he's beating John Cena 2 straight. And yeah.
Well, John, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not backing down from picking Cena, but it's a bitter pick. I really wish they would give Owens this win because people have beaten Cena before and he always gets the win back. And as soon as he gets the win back on Owens, Owens becomes just another guy on that long list of guys that Cena has lost to and then got the win back on. And I don't want that to happen to him. I think he's above that. But I'm not changing exclusively because it's a win-win, and I'd rather have a win-win than a lose-lose. And I'd rather, if I pick Owens and he wins, I'm ecstatic. But if Cena wins, I am crushed because not only am I miserable because it's not who I wanted to win, but I'm miserable because then I got my pick wrong too. So if I pick Cena, I win either way. Either I'm happy to lose my pick, or I got my pick right and I just could swallow that bitter pill that Cena won.
And I completely understand all of that. I'm not even going to try and sway you. I will just say this.
And the Finn Balor thing, that's just because I heard someone say it on a podcast, and I just, if Cena's going to beat Owens, there's literally no better way than to promote the NXT show or the NXT match on the 4th of July show.
And that's an excellent point. To me, I almost feel like the Kevin Owens on NXT is different from the Kevin Owens on the main roster, and he's only had
Yeah.
one match on the main roster. The Kevin Owens on
Different
the main roster,
universes.
different universes. The Kevin Owens on the main roster is a guy that says what he's going to do to you, and he does it. Now, granted, that's a lot like NXT Kevin Owens, but this guy I don't think cares about, throwing matches out, this and that. I think he's going to want to beat Cena clean again. I don't think he's going to want to resort to apron power bombs or anything like that.
I think main roster Owens is smarter and ballsier, and NXT Kevin Owens is just more concerned about being a dick 24/7.
I love both of them so much. But I mean, you and I and Ashton, I haven't forgotten. And see, you can take a lot of the blame for when I do so many of the picks that I do because you make such compelling cases and where the future may go. The Authority sees everything, and I think they are watching Kevin Owens very closely.
And that's another thing too. I want this match to curtain jerk. I want Kevin Owens to win this match, and I want him to get inserted into the Money in the Bank so that he can win it. Because then I would be confident. Kevin Owens wins Money in the Bank. End of story. That's it. It's over. I picked him as soon as he debuted on the main roster to win Money in the Bank, and now he's not even in the match. So, that would make everything so much better. And then, you get Kevin Owens cashing in on Seth Rollins, and the Authority switches their guy, and then you get the Triple H Seth Rollins feud that everyone was hoping for SummerSlam, and everything's just better. But as it turns out, it's not going to happen. So
that is true. I mean, we have been hearing the rumors about Triple H Seth Rollins feud, and what's going to be the catalyst to that? Because the Authority.
Well, I think that it's clear what the catalyst is going to be. I think the big question is, when is the Authority finally going to get on the Kevin Owens bandwagon and kick Seth to the curb?
I think it's going to be very soon because they're going to see a
You've
guy.
You've got to think so, right?
I mean, they're going to see a guy that beat John Cena clean 2 straight.
Twice. If he does. Hopefully he does.
And I believe. See, because here's the thing, too. And I know.
Dude, the amount of faith that I have in Triple H will go up by so much if Owens wins again.
And here's the thing, too. And I know maybe we started saying it as some kind of joke, but the more we say Kevin Owens is full-time Lesnar, dude, the more I freaking believe it.
And you know what's even crazier is that if that last match was a match of the year candidate, I think this match is going to be even better because the thing that makes a good match of the year candidate is not knowing who's going to win. I think that there are 3 really big sort of ingredients to a match of the year. The first one's unpredictability. The second one is an appropriate amount of shenanigans, meaning for a match like this, as minimum of shenanigans as possible. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then the third ingredient is obviously the actual quality of the match, where it's like it goes 15 plus minutes, maybe even 20 plus. You get a lot of back and forth, false finishes, that kind of stuff. But those are the three main things for me. And I think that this has potential to be even better than the first one, because I think that most of us were under the impression that Owens was going to win the first one. I mean, I wanted to believe it, and I kind of had a gut feeling that it was going to happen. There's always that LOL Cena wins factor where it's like, Jesus, WWE, what are you doing? Why would you do that? And it's always in the back of your mind. But I think the first match, we got a lot more Kevin Owens is going to win kind of confidence. This match is so down the middle. I mean, you're picking Owens. I'm picking Cena out of spite. We both want Owens to win, but I think that we both agree that Cena has a lot higher chance to win this match than he did the first one.
Oh, yeah, and that's why I agree with you about it being so middle of the road, because, I mean, it's so funny, and even me, like, I grew myself in this, so this isn't me being accusatory to anybody, but like, the first match at Chamber, everybody's like, oh, Cena's going to win. I even said it by DQ, because I thought Owens was going to apron powerbomb his ass, but he didn't, and now we're here. And you think, well, how long does Cena truly stay down? The Cena character.
What if Owens wins by countout?
And see, here's
he
the
hits
thing.
the apron powerbomb, and Cena tries to go Super Cena at 9, but then he ends up like tweaking his leg and falls back out of the ring.
And here's the thing, I don't scoff at that idea solely because I think everybody and their mother expects this to be a program that has a SummerSlam matchup.
Really? I don't. I think it's going to be these two matches, and if Owens wins the second one, I think that they might have like a U.S. title match after Owens loses the NXT belt to Demon Balor, and Owens wins that, and that's it, and it'll be over that then.
Yeah, and see,
I guess then Cena would have a rematch clause, so yeah, you're right. It probably will go into SummerSlam.
And see, like, I don't even want it to go into SummerSlam. What I want, if we were to take liberties like you and I often do, have Kevin Owens win, brag about it, and have Cena just for once in his life taste the real bitter pill that is so many people's realities. Because not everybody
we could
comes
see
back and
now.
wins.
I don't necessarily think this is going to happen, but if Triple H and the WWE really wanted to just shove not even a rocket, a freaking space shuttle up this guy's ass and send him not even to the moon, to freaking Mars, he can beat Cena 4 consecutive pay-per-views in a row.
That would be insane.
Because he would have these two, and then the third one for the U.S. title, and then Cena's rematch, and Owens would win all 4 of them.
And I would want it to send Cena into a downward spiral, like, this is the one man I cannot beat.
Or is it? Or am I just getting old?
Exactly. And you have a compelling angle either way. You know, and it's funny because and you know it, Ashton, through conversations with me, both recorded and not, that I have penciled in pretty much from the jump that Neville would be the one to end John Cena's U.S. Championship reign. I even said it before their first encounter on that Puitoff post. Yep. But maybe Owens is more suited for it. And it's funny, too, because you know...
And maybe another option... I mean, shoot, dude, Owens and Neville work amazing matches together. Maybe Neville will win the title from Cena, and then Owens will, after he's done with Cena, because if he beats Cena twice in a row, he has no reason to continue going after him, especially if Neville beats him for the title. If Owens beats Cena twice, and then before the time that their next match would have happened, Cena loses the U.S. title, there's literally no reason for Owens to fight Cena a third time.
I agree. You know, there's got to be purpose for one man to, pursue another, in the context of a matchup. I don't know. And see, the appealing thing about Kevin Owens as U.S. champion, he stepped on that belt and laughed.
Yeah.
So imagine a guy that shows a belt like that kind of disrespect, and then
that was when he held the title, the NXT title, though. Because I don't think necessarily that his thing was the United States champion is meaningless and the NXT title isn't. I think that his thing was whatever title John Cena holds is meaningless and the title I hold means everything.
Right.
But if Cena's not holding a title anymore and Kevin Owens loses his title, then naturally Kevin Owens would want to go after whoever holds the title that he perceives as the most prestigious to him, which in the WWE right now if we're being honest with ourselves, the U.S. title is more prestigious than the WWE title.
Oh, I completely agree with you. And I think the only tragedy about Cena's championship reign ending is that
U.S. title open challenges end.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, you just have to rechristen the thing as a TV championship. But yeah, honestly, after all this talk, it only further solidifies my position. Kevin Owens is the future, and no matter how strong you are, no matter how many shirts you sell, you can only stave the future off for so long.
I'm pretty sure Kevin Owens would outsell Cena if they produced as much Owens merch as they did Cena merch.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I'm sorry, it's fight Owens, fight baby.
Owens shirts sold out the first night they were available.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's the future. You can't fight the future. It's going to be fight Owens fight at Money in the Bank. He's going to beat Cena 2 straight clean.
Dude, I hope you're right, but again, you know my logic. I don't want to pick against Cena just because I don't want to be crushed.
And I get that, and I respect that. Like, again, you have just as much merit on your side as I think I do. I'm like, dude,
I'm like a freaking, I'm like a, what's it called? Not a PTSD sufferer. I'm like somebody coming out of a domestic or an abusive relationship. Because I just feel like the WWE has just boned me so many times with Cena going over guys that should have beaten him. I mean, the Bray Wyatt thing and the frickin' Rusev thing, and just now Rusev looks like a complete wimp. And man, like so much stuff that Cena has won, and I just don't want to get my hopes up that Owens is going to be the exception to the rule, as much as I think he is.
And, you know, it makes perfect sense for me, you know, to keep going down that rabbit hole because I'm a Johnny Mundo fan. I keep thinking every time he's in a world title match, this is going to be the time that he wins it.
Maybe Wednesday.
I know, but it probably won't. And see, then I'll just have to, you know, consult the liquor cabinet. But that's not the point.
You don't drink liquor.
Yeah, not nearly enough. The point is,
not at all.
You know, Kevin Owens, again, not nearly enough. Kevin Owens is a man, and he is going to show everybody what a man does. And I love it. And I think anybody who knows the story as you and I do about Kevin Owens, he's the real life babyface here. And I'll admit, there is a lot of sentimentality in my pick. But
did you just call Kevin Owens the real life babyface here?
Yeah.
As opposed to John Cena, the guy who gives special attention to cancer kids in the audience. Yeah,
John Cena, the guy that has a waterfall for a swimming pool. Yeah, that's named John Cena. You know, there is a lot of sentimentality in picking Kevin Owens, but again,
that waterfall was built by cancer kids, guys.
Oh my God. You know, I do think that Kevin Owens is gonna, you know, show everybody up, and again, real-time Brock Lesnar. What better way, or full-time Brock Lesnar? You know, what better way to do it than beating John Cena 2 straight? Because I think they want to build Kevin Owens into that commodity that he is must-see when Lesnar's not around. And especially when Lesnar's 3 deals are up, I don't think he's going to sign any more contracts after that, and they already have their safeguard in Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is the future, and he's an investment for when Brock Lesnar's gone, and for all those reasons that I personally believe, yeah, he's beating Cena 2 straight. So
you know what's insane, dude?
What's that?
Do you know how old Kevin Owens is?
Isn't he like 33?
31.
31. So, yeah. Crazy.
He is younger now than Dolph Ziggler was when he won his first world title.
Oh, my God. All right, man. Anything else you want to say about this pay-per-view? Oh, my God.
Kevin Owens is younger now than Batista was when he debuted on WWE television.
Well, that's actually no surprise, because I know Batista was much older when he entered the business. They had a lot of work to do.
I know, but it's still a fun fact.
Jim Cornette, Batista's either main event or bust. So true.
He was right. He was main event.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, guys. Well, full slate of predictions in the rear view mirror, and looking ahead, we've got live reactions tomorrow night, Monday Night Raw, and then on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. First ever Lucha Underground live reactions for all night long. It's going to be epic, guys.
And just as we always do when we do NXT live reactions, we will do our NXT Twit Wow on Thursday.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
Indeed. Get on that bicycle. It's Money in the Bank, baby.
All right, guys. We'll see you for live reactions.
Peace out, guys.
Or as you always say, tune in and peace out.